The 49ers are actively looking to trade up in the draft, according to the NFL Network's Peter Schrager. If they trade up, I'm guessing they're going to be targeting a tight end or a defensive end, maybe even offensive tackle, although it seems like the good ones are already off the board. At defensive end, if they trade up for one, that might mean that they don't really have much confidence in Drake Jackson, who was their top pick last year, although it's a little early to write off Drake Jackson, isn't it? I'm thinking if they trade up, since they spent their first pick on a DN last year, they would trade up for a tight end. Because George Kittle, I'm not saying he's going to retire or get traded, but he's getting older. He's almost 30, and they use him too much. He does everything for them. There is no viable number 2 tight end. The number 2 tight end that got Brock Purdy hurt in the NFC Championship game isn't on the team anymore and was inactive before that game. They need a real number 2 tight end, someone to take a little bit of the dirty work off of George Kittle's plate. Let him be a receiver. So I could see him trading up for Sam Laporta, Iowa, Luke Musgrave, Oregon State, Darnell Washington, Georgia, or Tucker Kraft, South Dakota State. Those are the tight ends to look for if they trade up. If they trade up for a non-tight end, and it's a D end, look for Isaiah Foskey, Notre Dame, Derek Hall, Auburn, Jonathan Mingo, Ole Miss, or maybe even Andre Carter II from Army. CBS ranks him in the 60s. And if they trade up for an offensive tackle, it'd probably be Blake Freeland, who frankly is Mike McGlinchey 2.0. So I wouldn't really recommend trading up for him. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Niners do with the offensive tackle spot. My guess is they neglect it, like they always do. And it's also going to be interesting to see what the Niners do on day 2 period, because that is when Kyle Shanahan takes over and usually drafts a wide receiver, a running back. I think they've spent like 30% of their day 2 picks on wide receivers and running backs since Kyle Shanahan's been here. And how many of them hit? Debo. So far. That's it. So are they going to prevent him from doing that again? Or are we going to get another running back and wide receiver? Because last year the 2 were terrible. Well, they didn't do anything. I'm not going to write them off yet, but come on. If they take a running back this year, though, take Zach Charbonnet. He's really good. Went to UCLA.